CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The heat is on and it's not letting up anytime soon. Local health officials have extended heat warnings through Wednesday ahead of several consecutive days of dangerous temperatures. With more on the message to residents to stay safe, here's Rita Ismail.
With scorching daytime highs and humidity, public health officials are sounding the alarm and reminding people to take the first heat warning of the summer seriously.
It's concerning because not only is it the first heat event of the season for the Middlesex London area, it's actually an extended heat warning, so it's longer than a typical heat warning, which is typically about 2 days in duration.
The City of London has activated its extreme temperature response. It is operating 4 community centres as cooling centres, offering relief to anyone who needs a break from the heat. Officials are also urging residents to check on neighbours, family and friends, especially those living alone.
It's extremely hot and it's been sustained for now a few days. The kind of calls that we get are really around concerns around heat exhaustion and potentially heat stroke.
The city's spray pads are open for kids to enjoy and cool off, but health officials are urging everyone to drink water regularly and stay indoors when possible, especially during the afternoon heat. As the sun beats down on this London tennis court, Coach Bill Kovac trains his athlete, Kale Paolo. It's intense, but safety comes first.
They're well supplied with electrolytes, water, and it's not new for them to spend time. Now, yeah, today is a little extreme than normal, but we have breaks.
The Middlesex London Health Unit extended its heat warning through midweek as the region is forecast to hit 31 degrees or higher for multiple days with humidex values near 40.
The longer that people are experiencing extreme heat temperatures, the more they're at risk due to the cumulative impacts of the heat, and particularly folks that are most vulnerable.
Due to the heat warning, all sports fields are closed in London and local school boards have canceled outdoor field trips for the next few days. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Lambton OPP say they've closed down a section of the 402 because of poor road conditions caused by the extreme heat. It's a westbound strip of highway near the Kamlaki overpass, which has reportedly crumbled. That traffic has been rerouted onto London Line from the Oil Heritage Road exit. According to the Transportation Ministry, the roadway is not expected to reopen until later this week, and permanent repairs won't be made until the fall. Julie Atchison will have much more on the weather story coming up a little later in the newscast. Provincial police say the body of a missing swimmer has been recovered near Port Burwell. Witnesses say he was a father who lost his life while trying to save his daughters. With more, here's Brent Lale.
After searching the waters off the shore at Port Burwell Provincial Park for nearly 24 hours, OPP have recovered the body of a missing swimmer. Randy Levine, a 35-year-old Woodstock native and Toyota employee, lost his life while saving his daughter when the pair got swept out too far in the water Sunday.
We had a daughter and father go into distress while they're swimming in the waters of Lake Erie here in Port Burwell. 2 Good Samaritans came to the rescue of the young teenage daughter. Unfortunately, the father did not resurface.
OPP, the Canadian Coast Guard, and Ontario Parks searched the beach hours after Samaritans risked their lives attempting to pull Levine and his daughter to shore. Those at the beach at the time said the water was choppy.
The waves were really big when we got here today, earlier this morning, about a good solid 1.5 meters. The beach was in a panic. Everybody was looking for them because they couldn't, obviously there was a lot of shock and they couldn't contact family members that were still not at the beach or at home. So it was a really scary situation.
The drowning here in Port Burwell was one of 3 major incidents involving water over the weekend in southwestern Ontario. Chatham-Kent police are searching the Thames River for a missing teenage girl, and there were 2 non-fatal drownings in Port Stanley.
They took in a lot of water and that, but lifeguards were doing some training in that, and they got them to safety in that, and then along with fire as well, and got them out and got them into EMS hands and taken both to hospital.
On social media Monday, condolences were pouring in and hailing Levine as a hero for saving his daughter.
Thank you to those Good Samaritans, and I'd also like to take this opportunity to send out my sincere condolences to all family members and friends that are affected by this tragedy.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Provincial police say a 6-year-old was rescued today after floating away on Lake Huron. According to police, the child was on an inflatable south of Goderich and they were blown away from the shore. They say the Huron OPP Marine Unit and Canadian Coast Guard helped bring them back to shore safely, though. A trial began today for a London man arrested during a significant weapons bust 2 years ago. The Guns and Gangs unit charged 28-year-old Jacob Patrick Sturgeon with half a dozen gun-related offenses in April 2023, including possession of a restricted firearm and tampering with a handgun serial number. He has been released from custody but is required to wear an ankle monitor. The trial is expected to last 6 days. Police in Huron County say they're investigating a possible hate crime from this past weekend. They say it happened either Friday night or early Saturday morning. Pink and blue spray paint was used at multiple baseball fields in Exeter. Profanities, a swastika, and a racial slur were seen on a picnic table, spray painted on the grass, on a porta potty, and signage. OPP say they have no suspects at this time, and the case has been forwarded to the hate crime unit. Stratford police say they're looking for 4 suspects after a smash and grab jewelry store robbery. This is witness video taken at the Stratford Mall Sunday. Police say 4 masked men smashed up a display case at a Paris Jewelers location. Police have not said how much merchandise the thieves got away with. They fled in a car that was later determined to be stolen from Peel region. Recent data from Stats Canada shows more than half the jobs in this country are considered exposed to artificial intelligence development. For a leading Canadian expert in the field, it's cause for serious concern. John Venevalley-Rao has more on his warning to the workforce.
Indiana gonna win, baby! In an advertising first, this completely AI-generated commercial recently ran on American primetime TV. No one you see is real. Everything created in 2 days using text prompts. Until now, the ad would have required hiring a production crew, and it's an example of the kind of job disruption this Canadian AI pioneer worries about.
I think if you make lots and lots of people unemployed, even if they get universal basic income, they're not going to be happy.
University of Toronto professor Jeffrey Hinton is a Nobel Prize-winning computer scientist.
If I worked in a call center, I'd be terrified.
On a podcast, he said the tech he helped to develop could soon enable one person to do the work of 10, and fears job losses are already beginning to happen.
And I think for mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody.
This all comes as Amazon CEO recently told employees expanded use of AI will reduce its total corporate workforce in the next few years. Already, university graduates are having a tough time landing that first job, and AI adoption likely a contributing factor.
In technical fields like computer science, graduates are having a harder than usual time finding positions.
According to StatsCan, 3 out of 5 Canadian workers are employed in occupations with a high potential for exposure to AI. As for how smart chatbots are, a group gave them an IQ test for humans.
Last year at this time, the top model had an IQ of about 97. This year, it had an IQ of 137.
Hinton was asked what job he'd tell his own kids to get if they needed one.
Trained to be a plumber.
Really?
Yeah.
Something a machine can't do for now. John Venevalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
London police held an open house today, hoping to attract more women to the profession. They were set up at the BMO Centre, offering a chance for potential recruits to test their physical capabilities. Police say about 80 women came out today, part of an effort to bring the total number of female officers up to 30% by 2030.
They're going up over the wall. That's a 4-foot wall that they have to go over, and they have to do a victim drag as well as go up and down the stairs. And then they have to, there's 2 different machines that they use as well, where they're doing a push-pull with 75 pounds of weight, and then they're also doing a restraint, which is supposed to mimic handcuffing somebody that's trying to pull away.
A local farmer is running for the federal NDP leadership position. Scott Miller has more on his vision for the party and why he wants it to merge with the federal Greens.
What I hear them talking about is stabilizing a system that serves the elites
Tony McQuail is no stranger to running for the NDP party. The Huron County organic farmer has been an NDP candidate in Huron, Bruce, 8 times since 1980. But now he has his eyes on a different job.
After watching the last provincial and federal elections and having been very concerned about what I've seen previously, I've decided to run for the federal leadership of the New Democratic Party.
One of the main reasons he's running, he says, is to stop the current vote splitting between the NDP and the Green Party. So he plans to lead a union of the two federal parties into a brand new political party, the Green Democratic Progressives.
They need to figure out what they can agree on, not what they need to fight about, so that we can start having a political party that has strong, progressive, and environmental policy to deal with the crisis we're in.
The crisis McQuail speaks about is one of growing economic inequality and extreme consumerism and capitalism that is driving environmental collapse.
We are the environment is us. And if we don't treat it well, if we don't start regenerating this system rather than just trying to stabilize it or talk about sustainability, we need to talk about regeneration. And I'm not hearing that effectively. We need to talk about big changes because we need to get to the root causes of the problems we're facing.
McQuail, who founded and still operates an organic farm near Lucknow with his wife and family, says Canada must move towards renewable energy as soon as possible, as well as focus on simply using less energy and resources altogether. Representation, regeneration, and redistribution are the 3 pillars he believes our society must adopt to not only thrive, but simply survive.
We haven't recognized that the more you have, the more you waste in terms of the ecosystem, which is why it's really important that we spread things out so people have enough for their needs.
And that will work better, he believes, if the Green Party and New Democratic Party merge into one progressive political party.
The two parties need to figure out what they can agree on and work on, because if they want a minority government, they have to do that then. Let's do it before and give people a clear choice and a clear option.
Near Lucknow, Scott Miller, CTV News.
The Soho neighborhood hosted its first ever Soapbox Derby this past weekend. Families and residents lined South Street cheering on the competitors and their custom-made race cars. Brent Lale reports.
2, 1, go!
9-year-old Xavier Soares couldn't believe he won the first annual Soho Soapbox Derby.
This is the first time like me racing an actual thing. I'd never raced in my life.
Go!
Dozens of families and residents of the Soho neighborhood lined South Street for what they expect to be an annual tradition. Organizers encouraged kids, families, and businesses to build soapbox racers. And the creativity was on display with 34 entries.
Beaver Brigade or the Soho Popo, or we've got just a bunch of different cars. It's actually impressive how all we did was say build it out of wood and make sure you push the Canadian pride this year specifically.
And what's more Canadian than the Stanley Cup? Jack Rice, who finished second overall in the junior division, had one of the more popular cars.
The car's inspired by all the Canadian teams who pursue the Stanley Cup each year, and also all the Canadians who win it, because there's lots of Canadians that are on all the NHL teams. We've had a local race in our neighborhood a few years ago, so we just rebuilt the outside, remodeled it into the Stanley Coupe. It ran pretty well.
As Soho continues to boom, the idea of the race was to introduce newcomers to the area south of Horton Street.
Trying to build pride in this community and get community engagement. Have a lot of people that live in Soho. We call people that live here and do more Sohomies, just to kind of drive that home that you have to do more than just live. So we're trying to get that message across to everybody.
And as for Xavier, he's learning valuable lessons and already looking forward to defending his crown.
He was catching up there, but I get pushing through and never give up.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Still to come, Canadian history on the hardwood. How Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has rewritten the sports record books in this country. Strength in technology and materials helped Canada's main stock index close higher. The TSX up 112 points in New York. The Dow added 375. The Nasdaq up 184. Canadian dollar lost 0.14 today. On commodity markets, gold gained $9 an ounce and oil fell more than $5 a barrel. Iranian officials are pushing back tonight on President Donald Trump's claims a ceasefire was in the works between Iran and Israel. With the latest on the rapidly evolving situation in the Middle East, here's Joy Malvin.
This is Iran's response, retaliation to America's massive bombardment of Iran's nuclear sites. Missiles lighting up the night sky over Doha, causing panic at a shopping mall. Iranian state TV said it attacked the largest U.S. military base in Qatar, home to some 10,000 troops that President Donald Trump visited just a month ago. Iran says it was bomb for bomb, claiming to fire the same number as the U.S. dropped. Satellite images showing the damage to 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities.
All 3 sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction.
The president called Iran's retaliation tonight very weak, even thanking Tehran for the early warning notice. Qatar said 13 of 14 missiles were intercepted, no injuries reported, and the airspace is safe. At first, the president warned Tehran not to retaliate.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
Even floated the idea of regime change. Iran's supreme leader has been in hiding and not seen in weeks. But the president now posting, perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace, and I enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Even as Iran and Israel have pounded each other for days, the president stunned everyone, saying on social media a ceasefire could be in the works, insisting America's massive strikes on Iran have done the job.
So that should be enough at this stage of the game to set the conditions, if the United States accepts that, to bring people back to the table to start talking about how we're going to end this.
The president posting tonight, congratulations, world, time for peace. Even as he reserves the right to respond to Iran, there are no active plans to retaliate. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
The developments in the Middle East overshadowed the Prime Minister's visit to Belgium today, where he met with European leaders and signed a new defense and security agreement. With more on that, here's Jeremy Sherrill.
A morning visit to a military cemetery kick-started Prime Minister Mark Carney's first full day in Belgium. A ceremony to honor hundreds of fallen Canadian soldiers buried here after the First and Second World War. Ahead of this Canada-EU summit, a meeting between Carney and European leaders focused on joint security and defense.
Very, very warm welcome to this EU-Canada summit.
We look forward to moving to an ever closer partnership with the European Union.
Here, Carney signed a new security and defense pact with European Union leaders aimed at diversifying its trade and defense industrial partnerships, billed as a first step towards more defense procurement from Europe and an eventual plan to get Canada into the Rearm Europe military program.
It will help us deliver on our new requirements for capabilities more rapidly and more effectively. It will help build our industries, secure our jurisdictions.
But Carney's European trip has been dominated already by the escalating war in the Middle East. The Prime Minister spoke with President Trump overnight and says de-escalation was a focus of their conversation.
Where the state of Iran has been a sponsor of terrorism, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and beyond. And where at least in our opinion, Canada has listed the Iranian Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization, active terrorist organization. These are violations of international law.
Carney travels to The Hague in the morning for a highly anticipated NATO meeting where it's expected the conflict in the Middle East will dominate too. NATO's Secretary General was pressed on it today.
That is why NATO has said Iran should not, and this is a consistent position of NATO, Iran should not have its hands on a nuclear weapon. So, and I would not agree that this is against international law, what the U.S. did.
The Hague summit will also see the alliance look at a new baseline spending target of 5% of GDP. Canada only this month committed to meeting the current 2% target this fiscal year, a decade after the alliance agreed to it. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Brussels.
Our heat wave continues. Extreme heat warnings in effect for the region. Temperatures today soaring into the mid-30s, feeling like the low to mid-40s. Thanks, Vanessa. Not much relief in the forecast for your Tuesday morning. 25 to 26, hot and humid. This is Lincoln and Lexi. If you are heading out for a walk, make sure you bring the water because your pups will need it too. If you are spending an extensive period of time outdoors, drink plenty of water. Take breaks. The elderly and the very young are affected most intensely by the heat. Please be careful out there. It's going to be another hot day for your Tuesday. I'll have your local forecast coming up.
Welcome back. Julie's on the desk with me now, and as we saw earlier on Rita's story about the heat, you're here to tell us more about the forecast and just how much longer these dangerous conditions are hanging around for.
Yeah, when it gets this hot and humid, we often don't think that the heat can be dangerous. And because we haven't had a humidex above 45 in this area in a long time, you can see it can cause, of course, heat stroke. So if you're outside for an extended period of time, when it gets this hot and humid, you have to be very mindful of the weather, and of course, City of London canceling all outdoor recreational activities tonight. I wanted to show you the widespread heat warning that is in effect across southern Ontario. You can see stretching all the way from Windsor through Toronto, this affecting Quebec as well this afternoon. I believe Quebec, there was a spot actually in southern Quebec this afternoon that crossed that 35-degree mark. Now, in London, breaking the record set back in 1983 at the London airport this afternoon, hitting 33.1. The humidex feeling like the low 40s. Now, there's not even relief overnight. Temperatures anywhere from 23 to 24. As we head into tomorrow morning, extremely hot, extremely humid, and that will be with us as we head into the afternoon. Now, things changing just a bit. We are under the influence right now of an upper ridge and a surface ridge, so that creates and promotes a lot of stability at the surface. That's why we didn't see any cloud cover today. As we head into tomorrow, we'll start to see a bit of cloud cover move in. So the upper ridge slowly starts to shift off to the east, and it will weaken a bit. This will allow this low pressure area and frontal boundary to slump towards the region. Midwestern Ontario, this is great news for you. As this frontal boundary slumps through, I am expecting it to come through Grey and Bruce County, which will drop your temperatures down. Huron and Perth County, you're right on the edge. Middlesex will not coming through for us. So we're still going to hold on to the heat and humidity. Now, as it waves its way through, there is the potential for a few pop-up showers. Could see a thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon. So as we take a look at the forecast model, you can see some showers and thunderstorms moving through parts of Michigan. We will introduce a slight probability. Can't rule it out as the atmosphere starts to become more unstable. Now, over the next couple of days, we could see a little bit of rainfall as this front hangs out. It's not going to move a whole lot, but what happens is with frontal boundaries, they are this focusing mechanism for showers and thunderstorms to develop. So what happens is as they slump their way over the area, there is the potential for a little bit of active weather along those boundaries. Now, just depending on how much cloud and shower action we get out of it's the question. 32 for the afternoon tomorrow. Winds out of the southwest, 20 with gusts of 40, and the possibility, as I mentioned, of a thunderstorm. Our East Park 7-day forecast. Showers chance on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Are we going to squeeze out a little bit of rainfall? It's possible. Do I expect widespread rain? No. So we'll be in and out of showers Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with the potential of some rainfall. Forecast model's not really eking out a whole lot at this point. Saturday, mainly cloudy and 26, 29 under a mix of sun and cloud on Sunday and a mix on Monday. So still holding on to the heat, still holding on to the humidity. Midwestern Ontario, it'll be 31 towards Huron, Perth. Grey Bruce, you'll be cooler. Into the upper 20s. It's still feeling like the low 30s, but further south, it'll feel like the upper 30s, low 40s. And then still quite humid and muggy through the week with a chance of showers Thursday and Friday for you. Mix of sun and cloud both Saturday and Sunday with daytime highs cooling a bit over the weekend, anywhere from 25 to 28. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and take it easy. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks very much, Julie. London's culinary diversity was on display this weekend at Victoria Park. The vendors with roots all over the world welcomed hundreds of people over 3 days. On top of the food, there were vendors and live music, a tradition going back to 2007.
what you can really expect in this show like this is culture. You're going to see all kinds of culture represented and their food. We brought in all kinds of different kinds of food from around the Caribbean, from even Africa, India. It's all represented here. I believe we've had such a great immigration of people that have come to this country and created their own foods, and they brought it to us. We didn't have to go there. They brought it to us right here in Victoria Park.
Finally tonight, Canadian basketball history was made last night when the Oklahoma City Thunder clinched an NBA championship. Leading the way, an MVP performance by Canadian Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. As Mike Walker reports, he's now rubbing shoulders with some elite company.
A giant image of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander proudly on display outside his former high school, Sir Alan McNabb. And there is civic pride today with the Hamilton native, now an NBA champion.
Proud to be a Hamiltonian. It's like he has wings, he can fly. It's just so hard to describe. I'm just totally amazed.
Gilgeous-Alexander led the way with 29 points as the Oklahoma City Thunder won their first NBA championship, defeating the Pacers 103-91 in Game 7.
It's everything. That's why you play the sport. You play the sport to win.
The 26-year-old capturing the finals MVP, a first for a Canadian.
You're asking about what separates him probably from the bunch. I think that's it, is consistency and the discipline to get better.
His father calls this success a blessing after years of hard work and a strong support system.
Late nights in the gym, early mornings, trainers and coaches and all the people that helped us get here. You don't do that stuff by yourself.
Gilgeous-Alexander now enters an elite club, becoming only the fourth player in NBA history to win league MVP, finals MVP, the scoring title, and championship, all in the same season.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, and now Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So he's in great company, rare company. And look, I have seen enough to say with confidence that this is the greatest Canadian basketball player ever.
The way that he's representing Canada is just unbelievable.
Tim Francis was Gilgeous-Alexander's high school basketball coach and watched the finals beaming with pride.
We saw the hard work. We saw the work ethic. Being an NBA champion, being an MVP of the finals, an MVP of the league, I don't think anybody saw that coming. But we did know that he was going to get to whatever his goals were.
He says Gilgeous-Alexander's success story on and off the court is a huge inspiration for young players.
Humble beginnings and hard work and what that can get you to, how that can pay off.
Mike Walker, CTV News, Hamilton.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.